Welcome to the Last Frontier Perspective, where we bring you the latest news and insights from Alaska and beyond, whether it's the issues shaping life here in the 49th state or broader developments impacting the U.S. We deep dive into the stories that matter, from Alaskan politics to national headlines and everything in between. This is your one-stop source for staying informed on the events that shape our world. So grab a seat, stay warm, and join me as we explore the frontier of news, where every story has a unique perspective. Let's get started. So it's been about 2 weeks now since the elections, and we still don't know for sure in Alaska who won or what. We have a pretty good idea for presidency. Donald Trump won by a lot, not enough. Kamala Harris still took home 41.3% of the vote, which is an incredible amount for Alaska. After all, we should be a very red state. With all these people moving in from the lower 48, it doesn't surprise me that we're slowly becoming more and more purple. But for now, we still are right-wing majority, if just by barely. But the thing is, for the House, it's a much closer race. Look, we're looking 48.6 for Nick Begich compared to Mary Petola's, a Democrat, 46.2%. That's barely more than 2% difference. John Wayne Howie, Alaskan Independence Party, picked up 3.9%, and Eric Hafner, a Democrat, picked up 1%. So since Nick Begich didn't get over his 50% threshold, it's going to go to ranked choice voting, which means that they're going to take the bottom people and they're going to take their votes and apply them to whoever they voted for as a secondary or even third vote. So Eric Hafner, a Democrat, well, those are almost all going to go to Mary Petola. John Wayne Howie, Alaska Independence Party, his votes, these are mostly like libertarians. They could go either way. They could go to Mary Petola or they could go to Nick Begich. It's really a toss-up. But John has enough votes to actually push one of these candidates past the 50% mark. He doesn't have enough to push Mary Petola unless Mary Petola gets every single one of John's votes. And that's just not going to happen. So more than likely, Nick Begich is going to end up winning this, but it's still far too close for comfort. For as far right-wing state as we're supposed to be, this is quite ridiculous. But the biggest concern is these ballot measures. You know, ballot measure 1 here, that's a yes. You know, it's whatever on that if you like ballot measure 1. I don't really care. But ballot measure 2, repeal ranked choice voting, no, is now leading by only 45 votes. That's crazy. 45 votes with 99% of votes already counted. There's only a few hundred votes left, and they're due to be counted today, Wednesday, September 20th, and it's within the 0.5% margin that the state will have to fund a recount. I suppose they don't have to, but they're supposed to. And if that's the case, it's a total toss-up. Even now, it's a total toss-up. Who's going to win? If we're going to be able to repeal ranked choice voting, or if this terrible, terrible voting system is going to continue. As of right now, I don't know, my gut feeling is that we're not going to have it repealed. Mail-in ballots are the majority of what they're counting right now, because we have this ludicrous system where you can mail in ballots just days before the election. And as long as they're post-dated by the election day, then we will count them as we receive them over the next several weeks. For some reason, we no longer have a voting day, but a voting month or something. It's completely ridiculous and opens the door to fraud and honestly just low information voters. Voting last minute by mail is not the type of voters we want. We want people who have to try barely, just slightly, just get up and go vote. That's all. The bar for voting should not be so low that you don't even have to be able to stand to do it. That's insane. That you can be so disinterested that you don't even physically do it in person. There's no, like, deep philosophical or logical reason to that. It's just if you don't know what's going on, you probably shouldn't be voting, to be honest. But all that to say, low information voters have a tendency to be Democrat. And so when mail-in ballots are received, there's a higher than average probability that the ones mailed in are Democrat or left-leaning than Republicans, who tend to not trust mail-in ballots and vote in person. There was a lot of pre-election day voting this year in person as well, and that really favored Republicans. So early election data all seem to be very, very pro-Republican. And in whole, the federal elections were very pro-Republican. But as far as our actual state, this is one of the most left-leaning political elections that we've had in my lifetime. And I'm not very old, but in my 30 years or so, it is definitely the furthest left. And I don't believe that it doesn't have anything to do with these lower 48ers moving up to the state since COVID. The majority of them seem to be Republican or say they are right-wing in some way, but even the lower 48's Republicans are like our Democrats. You gotta think, we're a state full of Republicans where Republicans smoke weed and Democrats own guns. We're an animal unlike the rest of the lower 48. We're something totally different. We're a new political party up here almost. We don't want big federal government. We don't want big spending. We're very right-wing, and yet at the same time we have this libertarian mindset of get your hands off my marijuana. No, I won't report my taxes to the IRS. I'm not going to register my guns. I'm going to buy them as a handshake deal outside of a gun show that was hosted in a high school. Alaskans do not care. They want to be left to their own devices to have a bunch of chickens or do whatever it is that they want to do without state, city, or federal ordinances getting in their way at all. We don't want handouts. We want nothing. A lot of these people from the lower 48 come up here and they're all about getting whatever they can from the government and sapping those resources dry. And it doesn't surprise me that they end up leaning more left even when they claim to be Republicans than we are by our natural right-wing nature that we've developed in Alaska, being close to the outdoors and being self-reliant as we are. Anyway, that's all I've got. I just wanted to give a slight update on the current political climate and the elections, and I'll see you guys soon.